following is a Galactic Digital Studios production. Well, that was interesting. So, I'm gonna have to fix the whole looping thing on the video. But anyway, hi! In case you can't tell, this is a little bit different than what the podcast usually is about. But I'm going to introduce myself here in a bit. First and foremost, thank you for watching. This is the inaugural-ish episode of Tech Time, part of the Closing Tag Network. Pardon me for a second. Coffee. This episode was supposed to have been streamed live last week on the same channel. The main problem was that we went up against, by we, I mean work, went up against a very difficult and tough bug during a very important live launch of a website. So, yeah. That pretty much took all of my attention and focus off of stuff like the stream and the podcasts and everything else, and focused it 100% on work. So, and I didn't want to, do too much in terms of trying to do catch up on the podcast, plus, doing streaming and stuff like that, even though I'm still playing catch up on my podcasts. Yeah. The episode for Sports Central that was supposed to have been released by now is still in post production. So by the time this drops, hopefully everything will have been sorted out. But anyway, I say reintroduction ish because for those that have been around long enough to remember when, well, this was a thing, the original name and format for what you're about to see was originally called Galactic Toots. That would be Galactic, and then Toots, Tuts, which is short for tutorials. And the original concept behind that was to just show little bits and pieces of, what I do for a living, not just in terms of web development, but also in terms of logo design, graphic design, that sort of thing. But when I decided to bring that back, number one, I wanted to change the name because, people kind of got not really offended, but just confused by the name. And the other reasoning, or the other thing that I wanted to do, is I wanted to completely change things up and not just focus on little bits and pieces here. I wanted to go in fully on, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how I do what I do. Because I feel it's important to have context behind certain decisions that are made behind the scenes. Now, for those that don't know me, and you're probably wondering who is this babbling idiot that can't even get a video to loop correctly on Streamlabs, well, I'm glad you asked. My name is Raul Smith, in case you can't tell. Mirroring is hard. And I am the host of a lot of the Closing Tag, well, all of the Closing Tag podcasts, which include News Desk, Sports Central, Tech Time, obviously. Let's see. Are We Not Entertained? Ring the Bell. There's a few others. Live Talk. And also, I'm the host of Game Stream, which you will see if you stick around the same time tomorrow afternoon on the same channel. My main credentials and the reason why I can speak on some semblance of authority on web development and whatnot is I've been a web developer for roughly 15 years. A lot of that time has been focused on just basic stuff, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, with some PHP in the background. In the past 5 years, I've expanded out considerably. I've started working with React, which is amazing. It's been my lifeblood. I've been working more with Laravel, which is a PHP framework. That's been pretty awesome to work on. I've also been working a lot with WordPress, which you will see later today. And I've also been working bits and pieces here and there on stuff like Angular and Vue and all these different terminologies that you probably don't even understand yet, which is fine. That's the whole purpose of this podcast. The purpose of this stream is to teach someone that has like zero development experience and be able to go in and create amazing things for themselves and for others. Because ultimately that's what I want out of this podcast, out of this stream, is I want to teach others and bring out a lot of developers. I want to be able to teach others how to do what I do and do it on a professional level because I think that's important for not just myself as a developer to be able to explain things on a base experience level, but also it helps others kind of get, up to speed on a lot of the stuff that I do. So I'm going to use a lot of terminology that you're probably not familiar with yet, but also I'm going to explain myself as I go. This is not going to be a one stream thing, by the way. If you remember when I streamed the building of the actual closing tag website, and I explained myself step by step why it is that I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? What's the purpose behind this? I'm going to be doing a lot of that, but on a more ground level type of explanation. So we're going to go step by step from conception to planning to building to launching the site. Now, one rule that I'm going to have on this particular stream and podcast is I'm not going to use actual clients as an example. I feel like that would be an invasion of privacy and a violation of the client's trust. So you're not going to see me working on actual client websites on this stream. You will, however, see me working on actual websites that are going to be available to view live on the web, and that will ultimately, I'm hoping, be added to the actual portfolio for Galactic Digital Studios. So this is not going to be, anything as far as, working on client stuff, but this is going to be a legitimate, serious operation. And as such, if you have any input as I go along on what you'd like to see me explain more in detail, or kind of go over something as I'm going along, kind of maybe explain myself a little bit more in depth, the chat is open. Chat along, chime in, and we'll read it on the air as I go along. So, yeah. Okay. So, obviously, the name of the podcast is Tech Time. The name of the client, quote unquote, is a small bakery. We'll say roughly 5 employees, counting the owner, called Rise and Shine Bakery. Now, the tech stack that I'll be working with today, we're going to start off simple. We're going to start off, something that pretty much anybody can work with. And that's WordPress. And WordPress is a PHP-based content management system. Now, what first and foremost is PHP? PHP is a programming language that deals with a lot of information being passed and forth between what you see on the screen and the database, which is behind the scenes type of thing. And it's important to do that because, number one, it's a security thing. You don't want people willy-nilly being able to grab your password or credit card information, because that would be bad. And number two, it's a functionality thing. PHP allows a more functional backend for a website like a WordPress site. And content management basically means that anybody with login credentials can create or edit content. And it's not just the developer. that's doing all the work. Now, why am I using WordPress today? Well, first and foremost, it's easier to set up an e-commerce site. I've worked with a lot of e-commerce stuff over the years, and I found WooCommerce, WordPress, to be probably the easiest to work with of all of them. And I've worked with Drupal, I've worked with Stripe, I've worked with Authorize.net, I've worked with fully customized e-commerce setups, and WordPress by far was the easiest one to work with. So we're going to, like I said, I want to start off simple, and I want to start off on a base level, so in that way people that are watching this can follow along. It's a faster build time without sacrificing too much of the functionality. It also helps to showcase how easy it is to set up WordPress and build WordPress, while also leaving the door open for more complex, more difficult challenges later on. And we will be going over some of those challenges probably before we wrap up this particular series. Spoiler alert, we're going to be working with custom themes and plugins. And like I mentioned, this is not going to be a quote-unquote real site. It's not something that is going to be for an actual client, but it is something that you are going to be able to see online, but also you're going to be able to see on the Galactic Digital Studios portfolio. So keep all of that in mind. Now, what you'll need to know before following along, so basically it's just going to be a basic beginner level type of thing. So we may not even go over too much of the HTML in this particular series. Now you're probably asking, but he said it's a PHP based. What the hell is HTML? HTML is another programming language. HTML is the programming language. It's the base of just about every front end page that you will ever find on the web. Yes, a lot of them are compiled in React, a lot of them are compiled in Angular, a lot of them are compiled in Vue, but the core base of those compiled websites is HTML, because HTML is the language that the World Wide Web can read and display in a way that is easy to understand for the average consumer. You're not going to need a whole lot else besides just basic stuff. Beginner level basic stuff. That's literally it. I'm going to try and make this as easy to follow along as possible. Now, about the company, quote unquote. Rise and Shine Bakery has been in business since, we'll say, 2018, 2019, shortly before the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. The owners are a couple in their mid-30s. They've been married for about 10, maybe 15 years. High school sweethearts, the whole bit. The bakery is based locally in Eugene, Oregon. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of like local research and stuff like that as we go along. It specializes in making specialty breads and breakfast sandwiches. So if you've ever noticed, or if you've ever gone to a bakery and they sell you like avocado toast, not toast with avocado on it, like actual toast made out of avocado, that's them. That's what their specialty is. Also jalapeno bread. The bakery has fallen on hard times financially, and they are looking to improve their SEO. Now the only reason why they are calling you is because their previous web developer has moved on. He's retired. He's doing other things and making 6 figures a year. He's practically living the high life, probably in California. And they saw your name and your business on Facebook. A friend of yours recommended you to them. And they're like, okay, you've been chatting back and forth with these guys in Messenger or text message or email or whatever your imagination wants to come up with. You've been chatting back and forth with these guys for about 2 weeks, and they're finally wanting to move away from Wix, which is dog shit. Wix is dog shit. I'm sorry. Anybody that likes Wix out there, I apologize, but it's dog shit. But they're moving away from Wix. They want to go to a fully, customizable WordPress site, while at the same time, they want to improve their SEO. So, and a friend of theirs is a college classmate, an old college classmate of mine who moved to Eugene years ago and has recently moved away from Eugene. That's essentially it. So we're going to go ahead and dive in here. Now, first things first. There are 3 ways to work on a WordPress site. And we're going to do this real quick. Hold on one second. I want to do something very quickly here. The joys of live streaming. There we go. Gets rid of the little icons on the bottom. Anyway, there are 3 ways to work on a WordPress site. The first and foremost way, and the most complex way if you ask me, is to download it live locally onto your machine. The way you do that is you go to WordPress.org and you fumble around and you come across the download link. You download the zip file that contains all the files that you need for WordPress, and then you have to set up some extra stuff on your machine like XAMPP and all these different things that help read PHP files. And you also have to install a local database onto your machine. It's a mess. It's a gigantic mess. So we're just going to skip that part altogether. The second way is to set one up on WordPress.org's server, which I don't recommend. I'm very paranoid about security. Understandably so, with all the data hacks that have been going on over the years. The third way, the way that we're going to be doing today, is we are going to set up a WordPress site on a dedicated hosting server that allows you to go in, make changes as you need to go, and so on and so forth. Now, you'll probably not even be able to read this because I'm having a hard time reading it. But there is a URL up here, bakery.galacticdigitalstudios.com. If you want to see the progress as we go live on your machine, that's the address to go to, bakery.galacticdigitalstudios.com. That is an actual URL right now. I know it's weird, but work with me on that. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as admin. It's going to do the whole bot verification thing. It'll probably ask me to re-sign in, which I'm okay with. Yep. It does this every once in a while. And if you're successfully logged in, this should be the very first screen that you see. It's what's called the dashboard. The dashboard allows you to create posts, create pages, monitor comments that are coming in from other customers and consumers. It'll allow you to set up settings, work with a number of tools like the theme and plugin file editor, which we'll likely be touching at some point. It'll even allow you to view all users if you're logged in as an admin. And it'll even allow you to be able to add, edit, and remove users if you're an admin. Now, for the purposes of this particular format, we're probably not going to dive too much into being able to add users. Just saying. I don't need people getting the wrong ideas. Again, paranoid. It'll allow you to be able to add and also install plugins. And the WordPress plugin library is extensive. It is massive. You ever hear the old saying, there's an app for that? There's a plugin for that. I'm sure 90% of what you need is already built in a plugin in the WordPress library. So you don't need to worry about that sort of thing. And of course, appearance. Right now, all it shows is themes. But once you install a theme, once you install a more than basic theme, then you should see stuff like Elementor and Customize and so on and so forth. And we're going to be diving a lot into a lot of those things as we go. So, very first thing I want to do before I do any work here is, because one of the things that the customer was asking for is improvement in their SEO. I want to be able to go in and make some notes. So we're going to go ahead, hop on Google, and we're going to scout the competition. So this New Day Bakery looks very promising. Let's check this out. Go on the website. Now, the three things that I'm mostly keeping an eye on as I'm progressing and going through all of these different websites, I'm noticing page content. So on page content, basically what it is it's the stuff that you're able to read and see on a website. So like, say for instance, take this site for example, this paragraph right here about New Day Bakery and World Cafe serving the Eugene community since 1989, located in the popular Whitaker neighborhood on Blair Boulevard. So and so and so forth. I'm not going to worry about too much of that. All of that is readable content. Now you can tell as an end user that it's readable content because you notice how the icon, the little mouse icon right here, boop, 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 has turned into a thing like you're ready to type something. That's because all of these are actual words. There's no images, there's none of that. It's all words in this particular section. That's on page content. SEO prides itself and takes great high precedence for on-page content. If your website does not have good on-page content, Google's not even going to bother looking at you. It just isn't. They also notice that there's images, which I'm pretty sure if you poked around a little bit, you can actually see what's called an alt tag. And again, going back to the whole SEO thing, alt tags are not only critical for SEO purposes because that counts that as on-page content, but it's also critical for something that's called ADA compliance. ADA compliance is a big thing right now in the web development community. And what ADA compliance is it's a set determination of just how accessible a web page or a website is to people that don't have good sight. So if, say for instance, your uncle or your aunt needs to have one of those screen readers to be able to read them, like, hey, this is what this website is saying, and this image doesn't have an alt tag accompanied with it, then it's going to skip that image altogether. And there have been a number of companies in the United States that have been sued by, I can't remember who they're called, but basically they're being sued because their websites aren't accessible enough to those with vision impairments. So that's incredibly important. And then you'll notice they have their hours of operation, their address, and their phone number down here. Phone numbers over here. And you'll notice menu right here. So the three things that I'm looking for: page content. So on page content, I'm also looking at the layout. So I'm looking for number of pages. I'm also looking at the page structure for the home page. And then the third thing I'm looking for is design elements. So your fonts, your color scheme, your imagery, all of that is being taken into account as I'm formulating this plan. So that's one website. And some of the very best that are able to compete with SEO as far as local businesses are concerned, they don't stop at one website. They research at least 5 different websites and are able to then say, okay, here's what we can put together. Let's go ahead and get going. The Sweet Life Patisserie, I'm hoping that I'm not butchering that too badly, looks a lot nicer. You'll notice the design elements kind of bumped up a bit. They got their logo up here, front and center. They got their little social media phone number, front and center. I love that. That's big. And then they've got their store listings, hours of operation. Now look at that. That's interesting. A scroll effect right here. I don't know if you can see that or notice that, but that's pretty cool. And now as I'm going through this website, I'm readjusting and adding mental notes. I should probably add actual notes. Even though this is an actual website, this is something that I'm, kind of exhibiting for others. So we got ourselves a scroll effect. And then we got kind of a pinkish, pinkish with red color scheme. So yeah, pink and red. I'm guessing this is more like, this is for more like wedding events and stuff like that. So we probably don't want to do too much as far as that goes, but something to keep in mind. Okay. And I do like that they have images of their outdoor patio set. They've got different things that you can do. You can have it delivered via DoorDash, which that's huge. You can also have like a phone order online, order gift cards. And then here's another thing. They've got a picture of their menu right here. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I zoned out for a second there. I see peanut butter and I zone out. Sorry. Anyway, moving along. Sweet life indeed. And I do like wordplay on websites. I do my best to try and do as much wordplay as I can on websites. There's a cancellation refund policy right here. And again, re-emphasizing, hey, regular store hours, but holiday hours may change, so on and so forth. Okay. We're going to do one more just for the sake of argument, and that's not a very good one. That's not a good one at all. I do like the, okay, that's interesting. Specialty breads. This is what we're looking for right here. Kind of an example of like, okay, here's the type of breads that we can deliver. Here's the type of breads that we can make. So definitely something to keep in mind. We'll probably keep this one open just for the page content, but in terms of like the layout and whatnot, I really liked the Sweet Life layout, and kind of liked some of the effects that they have on their website. But in terms of page content, these guys are actually doing pretty good. So since they're also ranking pretty high up on Google's radar, we'll go ahead and kind of mimic some of their layout and whatnot. Now, as I am gathering my notes, kind of going over in my head what it is that I want to do for these guys. Let's go ahead and look for a theme. Now, a theme in WordPress can be the end product, or it can be a good stepping stone. It can be a good starting point. I want to use this theme as a good starting point. I don't want it to do all the work for me, because that'd be a very boring stream. So we are going to look for something that is going to be... Actually, let's try this. We're going to look for the term bakery in the themes, and you can see that there's a bakery theme right here. I like that. Now, granted, it's got very 1998 vibes, but I like that. This little move ring right here. Now, if it were up to me, I would expand this out to full width, have that be the full width, but also keep all the content contained in a 900 pixel wide frame. Now you're getting to see a little bit of how my design brain works. Now I'd put the logo right here, obviously, your logo here. But I would also put, I mean, this is good. This is a good starting point. This is a very good starting point. We're going to go ahead and use this theme right here. So let's go ahead and install it. And then we're going to activate it. So now that is the active theme. And now you can see with a more advanced theme than 2024. God, I don't know why WordPress insists on these lame ass fucking themes, but whatever. You can see that you're seeing more options on the side over here. So you've got patterns, you've got customize, you've got widgets, you've got menus, you've got background. The theme file editor has now been moved from under tools to under appearance. So we're starting to get there. We're starting to get there. Every journey, every long journey begins with a single step. This was the single step. Now we're going to go ahead and add some plugins. So, as I adjust myself and grab more coffee, I'm going to explain myself here. So the customer mentioned that they want SEO. They want to improve their SEO on their website. The one thing that I really like, the one plugin that I really like, is something called All-in-One SEO. This is not a paid promotional thing. Don't flag me, please. But this thing will allow you to not only be able to see how things are in terms of page content and readability and that sort of thing. It'll also allow you to track your keyword rankings, which is huge, major huge. So we're going to go ahead and install that. And we're going to activate it. Another thing that they mentioned was they want to be able to take orders online. So anything WordPress related that requires any kind of transactions or commerce needs WooCommerce. So we're going to look for WooCommerce. Here we go. Here we go. WooCommerce is open source e-commerce platform. It is the open source e-commerce platform for WordPress. It is free, it is flexible, it is amplified by a global community. I'm not going to bore you with the rest. We're going to go ahead and install it. Shut up and take my money. Oh wait, you're free. So now WooCommerce is active, and now you're going to notice on this side over here, once I do this, oh, it's not even going to let me do that. Okay. So this is where you're going to set up the store for WooCommerce. I agree to share my data to tailor my store setup experience Get more relevant content. Yeah, we're going to unclick that. Thank you. Setting up a store for a client. Rise and Shine Bakery. Yeah, it's located in Algeria. Yeah, we'll work with that. Could you imagine? No, it's located in Oregon, United States. Email address, yep. Opt in to receive tips, discounts, and recommendations. No, I'm good. Thank you. Now, here's an interesting screen. It's basically asking you, hey, what all do you want included with your WooCommerce? WooCommerce has what's called extensions. And these extensions allow you to be able to take different types of payments online. It allows you to display your image, your products in a more fashionable way. It allows you to print shipping labels. It allows you to counter in taxes, I should say. Wow, I can't talk today. Are we sure this was a smart idea? It also allows you to create ad campaigns for TikTok. That's interesting. We're going to unclick that because we don't know if TikTok's going to be around next month. In case you don't know, Congress right now is making it so that the Chinese government either has to sell TikTok or TikTok is going to be delisted off of every platform in the United States. So TikTok may be going away soon. Just FYI. Especially since the Chinese government doesn't seem to be too gung-ho about giving up on TikTok. You can also create Google listings and ads, which I'm going to unclick that. Now, depending on whether or not the customer already has Google listing, we're going to assume that they do. We're going to just discredit that altogether, because it would override what they're working with on their end. Showcase your products with Pinterest, which I'm not too worried about that. We're not worried about shipping labels because they're not going to ship these breads to customers. They're going to want the customers to come to them. Taxes, yes, we definitely want to get automated tax rates. Mail Poet, reach your customers with Mail Poet. That's a new one I've never heard of. I'm going to unclick that for now. Content creation with Jetpack AI Assistant, I'm going to decline. Well, no. We'll keep that around. Obviously, we want to get paid, so there you go. Get paid with Woo Payments. And now it's getting the features ready to go. Extending the store capability. And hopefully it doesn't take too terribly long. Turning on the lights. I'm going to grab my coffee. Okay. Jetpack content. Okay, so we're going to go with oh, apparently that already exists. Never mind. If I can type, that would be nice. Nope, that's not the right password. Okay, we'll try this one. No? that one. We'll try one more. That's a no. Okay. A moment. Okay, back to it. Yep, I was able to log in now, so we're good. I had to reset my password because I'd forgotten it. All right, so it's opening the doors. Open the, what's the one saying? Here's the church, here's the stable, something like that. I forget. It's been so long since I've done that. Anyway, so now you'll see on the side here, first and foremost, there are a lot more options. You've got your WooCommerce, you've got products, payments, analytics, marketing. The marketing mostly is just for like coupons. So if you ever notice that some sites have like a coupon code, yeah, that's where they would set up the coupon codes. And they would set up like, okay, if this customer enters this particular code, they get 20% off of their total order. That sort of thing. So now we go from here. Let's go ahead and customize the store. Actually, scratch that. The store's already been customized. I don't know what's going on here. Well, we'll deal with that in a minute. A moment, please. Oh, that's what that is. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and close that actually. So let's go to customize our website, our new fancy website. So as you'll see, there are a lot of options now. Depending on which theme you have set up, these options will obviously change. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can't get this to expand out. So go general. No, that's not it. Header maybe? No. Slider. Wait, there's a slider? Oh, I guess I need to enable that section, huh? Very cool. I like it. I like it. This is exactly what I was envisioning when I was going over my mental notes for this. So yeah, this is pretty cool. And you'll notice on the side over here, it even gives you options to have like a title, description, or a link. Let's see what happens if I do this. Hold on. Let's disable the section for a hot minute. Just for a hot minute, just for a second. We're going to go ahead and put in yada yada and all the good stuff. Let's go do ahead and learn more. And the link is going to be to our to our shop page. All right, enable. Okay, that's a little interesting. We'll have to do some tinkering with that. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. We'll have to tinker with that a little bit. I'd still like to try and expand this site out a little bit more. Let's see, homepage settings maybe. No, let's do a static page. Always do static page. Never do like the latest posts. That's just annoying. So, oh, why should we never do just a static post page? Because that's going to require a lot of work in making it work, making it look good. Obviously, this is going to take a lot of work to make it look good, but we'll work with that later. But the one thing I want to do is this narrow path is annoying, and I want to get rid of it, and I want to make it bigger. So I'm going to go over step by step on how to make this more wide or wider or whatever. So the first things first is if you have, oh, I guess it's not showing up on here for you guys, but I'm going to do an inspect element. And basically what I'm looking for is some kind of clue like that right there. Yeah, so in case you don't know much about CSS, CSS is basically how a website is styled. It doesn't matter what you use to build it, PHP, React, JavaScript, HTML, whatever. The CSS is what helps make it look good. Basically, it allows you to create styles based on font, colors, width, height, that sort of thing. So this narrow path is being set because the max width for this particular page right now is set to 1,000 pixels. I want to get rid of that. See, that is so much better, don't you think? So, how do we override it on here? Yes, I'm fully aware of the dangers of using my own CSS on a WordPress site. Oh my goodness. So we're going to go ahead and use a custom CSS for site. Max width is going to be none. How awesome is that? And it overrides the initial style. Now this looks so much better. We're going to go ahead and publish that. So now anybody that's looking at this on their own, on their own computer screen at home, bakery.galacticdigitalstudios.com, you're seeing now what I'm seeing, except for this bottom part right here and the side. But you're seeing this particular element, you're seeing all of this right here. This is a gorgeous looking site so far already. Let's see how it looks on mobile. Yeah, that's going to take some work to get going here. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. But I do still like that this is basically the same. So we're going to go with that. All right, so let's go ahead and expand this back out to regular size. We're going to close that since we're done with that for now. Now I'm just going over each and every option as I go. So the header option, that basically allows you to say, okay, this is what I want in the header of my website. You'll see that there's a logo here, kind of a pre-orchestrated logo for this particular thing. Now, I'll probably cook something up before Wednesday as far as a proper logo for this website, but for now, let's go ahead and use the pre-ordained logo. Now, give me a second to take a look at something very quickly. 1 second. All right, back to it. Sorry about that. I was researching something. So, because this is basically a fictional website with a fictional company, we're going to go ahead and just plug in a random address. And I wanted to make sure that this random address didn't have any houses in it or something, because I don't want people to get the wrong impression and go to this particular address in Eugene, Oregon, which is an actual address, but it belongs to a public park, not a bakery or a house. Don't tell anyone. And we're going to go ahead and go with bakery at galacticdigitalstudios.com. If I can type, typing is nice. And then that's a little weird. Whatever. We'll go with yeah. That is my actual business line phone number, so don't abuse it. The email address, however, is bogus. Nobody's going to be able to email at that email address, at least not yet. I may decide to open that up just for funsies. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. But that's all the header options. Go general options. Now here's the part that all of that research that I was doing at the beginning of this stream, this is where this pays off. We're going to get rid of this hideous orange looking color, and we're going to go with a more, not really burgundy-ish, but like almost like a dark red brown type of deal. And we're going to go ahead and publish that. And you'll notice here and here the colors changed. Obviously, we already went over the slider options. Services section. Now, this is part of the premium package apparently. So we're just going to skip that part then. Jerks. Same thing there. Jerks. That's the thing about WordPress themes, is a lot of them are going more and more and more towards like offering additional stuff as part of a premium package. Premium package basically allows you to go in and make changes based on this thing, this thing, this thing, and not have to worry too much about hard coding it. And I'll explain what hard coding here is in a bit, but let's see. So we went over the bakery theme options. Here's the site identity, and that's basically just setting up a favicon with your site title and a tagline if you want a tagline. I don't know too many people that use taglines anymore, but whatever. A moment, please. I don't want you to look at my files. It's not that I have porn on my computer. It's that I don't like exposing the hierarchy of my whole graphic design operation. So we're just going to do this very quickly before I switch it back over to me. And this is where the alt tag is put in on WordPress. It says here, learn how to describe the purpose of your image. Leave empty if the image is purely decorative, which in this case with the favicon, the site icon, that's purely decorative. So we're just going to leave that alone for now. Looks like it's going to need to crop a little bit, and it's going to cause some issues, but thankfully nothing too serious. And now it pops up right there. Cool. And again, now you can go onto the actual website, bakery.galacticdigitalstudios.com, and see that little favicon right there in the tab. That's pretty cool. I like it. Colors. This is the good stuff right here. RRGGBB. So let's see what happens if I do this. Apparently nothing. Never mind then. Background image. Okay, so that's where the background image is. So we're going to go ahead and let's see, fill screen maybe? Don't know. We'll just use this as default. It's fine. Menu, we'll get into menu here in a little bit if I have time today. Widgets, same thing. Homepage settings, we already did that. WooCommerce. We'll go over all of that here in a little bit. Maybe on the next stream, I don't know. I am going to be a little bit pressed for time here in a bit, so because we're coming up on 2 o'clock. Additional CSS, we already kind of went over that. Now, one thing I like to do is I like to add comments to my CSS. Now, comments are not something that people that are just looking at the website can see unless they do inspect element. But for developers going in and trying to, correct and fix a few things here and there, like let's say for instance, this bakery completely gets much bigger for its britches than anybody anticipated. And now you need a whole team of developers to constantly keep this up to date. You're going to want comments in your code, because then that tells the other developer, the one that's going to be, kind of taking over. Like, let's throw a hypothetical. So after the website, expands out and the bakery expands out to like 3 locations, let's say Eugene, Springfield, and for funsies, Astoria. All actual towns in Oregon, by the way. Love Oregon. Love Oregon. But for not for the reasons you may think. They do have good tree, but they also have good trees. Just saying. The website completely blows up. The company blows up to where now there's 3 locations. And you decide to take a vacation. It can be anywhere. It can be Seaside. It can be Astoria. It can be You want to go up to Seattle, visit Pike Place. Amazing food, by the way. I recommend everybody listening to this to go check that out anytime that you shush. We'll eat later. Go check that place out anytime that you're in Seattle. It is amazing. Just saying. But let's say you go on vacation, wherever it is that you decide to go, and the other developer is tasked with coming in and making a few modifications, a few changes. They're going to look at this and be like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what this code does. What does it do? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what it does with comments. And the comment is going to be, makes the site width full screen. Literally, that's it. That's all that does. I like it. This is a very nice little website we have going so far. Now I mentioned menus. Let's go back to the dashboard and let's create our menu. Not menu as in like an eating menu. No. Menu as in a navigational menu for the website. So we're going to go appearance, menus. So you'll see that it has the standard menu here. So we're going to actually go ahead and create a completely new menu. So we're going to just take all of these off. Bye-bye. We'll leave the My Account one on just because that's a standard thing, and also shop. We'll leave shop on there as well. But we're also going to want to add an about. And of course it's going to do that. DigitalStudios.com/about. So I'm going to copy that because we're going to now eventually, once we create the pages, the actual pages for these links, we'll come in and swap the custom links out with the links to the actual pages. But for now, we're just going to create custom links. And do the same thing here for contact. And the same thing here for FAQs. FAQs, in case you don't know, is an acronym for frequently asked questions. So these are the questions that almost everybody asks of the company. How did you get started? How many customers do you have typically a day? What are your hours of operation? Stuff like that. And basically, instead of wasting time and resources on people asking the same questions over and over and over again, they just list the questions and their answer to those questions on an FAQs page. That's basically what the purpose of an FAQs page is. Let's see. I think that's about it on the menu part. Awesome. Now, I know we didn't get too much into coding on this stream, aside from making the screen bigger. But one thing I'll probably end up doing when I come back on Wednesday, because we are going to be wrapping up here in a bit, The main thing is I'm going to probably poke my head around a little bit in this theme file editor. And it's basically, there's two reasons why I want to do that. Number one is I want to get you familiar with how that looks, how the theme file editor is orchestrated and shaped. And keep in mind, each theme has a different hierarchy compared to other themes. Now, what I mean by that is, and I'll kind of show you an example of that on Wednesday, is it'll have different things in different files in different subdirectories and whatnot. So you have to really kind of keep an eye on where certain things are being called in the code, if that makes any sense. Again, I'll go over it more in detail on Wednesday, but that is probably going to end up doing it for today. I know I said 2 hours, but kind of started late, and my tummy is making the rumblies, which means it's time for food. Plus, I gotta get ready for work. So, yeah. So Wednesday we'll probably go over more of this, kind of like exploring more of the dashboard for WooCommerce and WordPress and whatnot. And like I said, we'll go a little bit in depth into editing some of the files, and we'll go from there. Sound good? Sound good. And eventually, I do want to create a child theme of this theme that we just started working with, and I'll explain what a child theme is on Wednesday as well. And the second thing I want to do is I want to create my own plugin, and we'll probably do that at some point as well. Probably not Wednesday, but at some point. Now, for those of you that are more interested in other things that I do, game stream tomorrow. This is not a drill. This is not a false alarm. Game stream is going to be live tomorrow afternoon. The goal is to start at 12 noon Mountain Daylight Time, but as you saw today, things can change. So we'll go from there. I'm going to actually switch this from that to this. So game stream tomorrow, we're going to be playing Owl Boy, which is a small indie game. I actually really like it, and I hope that you will enjoy watching me play it as much as I have enjoyed playing it so far. And then Wednesday, like I said, we're going to be back on this. Thursday, we're going to be back on Owl Boy on Game Stream. And then Friday, a whole new batch of podcasts are going to be recorded. I don't know what I'm going to be recording yet. That's kind of decided during the week, depending on what all is going on. I'm going to try and be a little bit less hostile in my news desk podcast. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll be more hostile. I don't know. But that's the plan. And then, as I've mentioned in the past, we are going to be doing shorts and reels of past podcast episodes and also past tutorial episodes to kind of get more people onto the channel so we can get more views and whatnot. But if you're interested, I'm actually going to pull up the site now. Give me 1 second here. Let me switch over here. It's loading. So the closingtag.com, that's the closingtag.com. You see this little donate button up here. Click on that. If you want to, I mean. It'll take you to this little bad boy here. I need to fix that, but we'll deal with that later. But you can donate as little as $1. You can donate as much as you want. I have no delusions of grandeur or aspirations of actually making that much on this donate thing. Yeah, I don't see that happening, but it'd be nice to have. It'd be a nice dream. If you want to help me accomplish my dream, you're more than welcome to do that. I just showed you how. And it takes PayPal, Amazon, Apple, Google, credit card. I haven't figured out ACH yet, so we'll deal with that later. But anyway, if you are watching this on YouTube, like the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and so that way when a new video drops, you can follow along. I will also encourage everybody that's watching this on Facebook to like the video, share the video, and even comment on the video. And hopefully next time will be less talky and more actiony. Yeah. I'm going to go get food because I can feel my blood sugar level is pew. So, actually, I'm going to go ahead and start doing something on this stream that I've been doing on Game Stream for about 5 years now. And that is custom signouts. We're going to do a different sign out every time, but I think this one is very appropriate for this particular stream. So until next time, everybody, work hard, be happy, drink moonshine. Bye. This has been a Galactic Digital Studios production.